I was just a 19-year-old girl in the music business, so scared of everything. Nothing my parents could say, nothing that a therapist could give me, or anything would make me feel as good as music did. We were sitting in the studio, and the second I'd laid down the chorus, I just knew it was immediately for Eminem. I think the only way I can really help people is really being a worldwide superstar and like really changing people's lives. In the 3rd grade, I had this teacher, she was really nice, and the Star Spangled Banner would play every morning, and I would sing it full voice, and this one day, it just went out. So I kept on singing it, and everybody dropped out in the class, and at the end of the day, the teacher gave me an award, and they clapped for me, and they said that I had a really good voice, so I was like super happy, because I was like 8 years old, and I was like, oh, I can sing, I'm good. I started writing in books and I had poems when I was 9. They obviously weren't good because I was writing about love and like what does a 9-year-old know about love, but like whatever. But when I really started writing songs was like when I was 15. I wrote this song with my friends and we submitted it to this foundation, the Naras Academy, and they did this thing called Grammy Career Day, and they chose it as the top song out of 700 entries, and from there, like I think it kind of just was like networking from producer to writer to artist. I remember the songs that I wrote then, I'm like, they're so bad. But people actually like them, but I'm like, they're not good. They were definitely not the Bebe that people know today. My influences have changed so much, depending on where I was in my life. In high school, I loved Stevie Wonder, but then I went and I started listening to a lot of opera and classical music, and like Puccini, and I would listen to it obsessively. I don't think anything has ever touched me the way that listening to an opera song would, or like a classical song would. Like classical songs give me goosebumps and they make me want to cry. I always wanted to write a pop song that could make me feel that way, or like make people feel that way, because it's like that's hard to find. How did I end up in Black Cards?
Black Cards kind of started by accident.
They had been to like the UK for like 2 to 3 weeks, auditioned like so many girls, fired 3 girls because some of them were crazy and whatnot. And I was just in the other room writing a song.
We were in the studio, like the A room at the studio, and there's a B room, and while we were listening to the playback in the A room, like we liked the voice in the B room, and that's where Bebe was.
Bebe in the B room.
Bebe in the B room.
They heard the song, they loved it. They heard my voice, they loved it. Had me go in, cut 2 songs like in like 4 hours. They hit me up when I was in Italian class and they were like, do you want to be in this band called the Black Cards? And I was like, yeah, I do. And I like literally walked out of Italian class and was like, I'm never going back to school again. I hate school. That was the start of Black Cards.
A brand new band called Black Cards.
I don't think the music was right at all. I just knew the songs weren't right. They just weren't good enough. And I knew it. And I was like this teenage girl who was like, these songs are not right. And I was the first to say it, and they hated me for it. I was a part of the writing process, but not fully. They let me write a bridge or whatnot. I wasn't able to like pick the direction or the sound. I think that Pete writes incredible lyrics, and I think Sam Hollander is an incredible producer, but sometimes it's about collaborations, and the reason why Fall Out Boy is so amazing is because Pete does the lyrics and Patrick does the melodies, and it just works, and you find a collaborator, and that's what makes that band so beautiful and Fall Out Boy so successful. But I think in this case, the Black Cards, it just wasn't right. I was angry at Pete for a second. Nobody knows that. Like, I was super angry. I was angry at my managers. I was angry at everybody because I was 19, and like the honest truth was I got a call from my manager to come and see him, and Pete wasn't even there, and they were like, we don't want to do this group anymore. I'm like, but can he call, like, can somebody call me? Because like, you know, it's kind of like a breakup when somebody texts you or calls you and you're like, did I do something wrong? Like, do I suck? Like, you don't know, like you take it personal. And then I think Pete just ultimately felt bad because he knew how much it meant to me, and he never meant it in like any ill way. He's just like, he didn't want to like break my heart, you know? I actually respect him so much because he taught me so much. We traveled the world and I learned how to like take over a stage and like how to write a proper song. He taught me how to just take control and be creative and be your own artist and be your own boss. So like, I'm very grateful for that situation. If it wasn't for Black Cards, I don't think I would be where I'm at. I was heartbroken when the band didn't work out, but what are you gonna do, you know? When you're 19 years old, you're like, my world's over! I'm never gonna get signed again, I hate this, wah. So now, you know, take the money that you have that ran out from your record deal, which was almost nothing, you know, I wasted that all my career, then go back to Staten Island, and now you're stuck under a record contract and your label's not dropping you. So it's kind of like you're stuck in prison. And like I was so angry at the situation, and I put that anger on myself, so it caused me to get really depressed, and it caused me to get really anxious. So after having like a breakdown, what else do? You write songs.
Cause I think I'm getting so huge, I need a shrink. I'm beginning to...
We were sitting in the studio, and the second I'd laid down the chorus, I just knew it was immediately for Eminem.
Cause I'm
friends with the monster that's under my bed. Get along with the voices inside of my head.
So the band is broken up at this point, and like we let everybody know, and like my parents have a house, so I go to the basement and I hibernate there, and I bring my like KRK speakers, my laptop, and I kind of just like lived in my little home studio for like 16 hours plus a day, and I would write songs, and I'd go on the internet and like find quotes to help me get through the day. And the only way that I wouldn't feel anxiety or feel my heart racing out of my chest or feel like I was about to have a panic attack was when my headphones were on and I was listening to music. Nothing my parents could say or nothing that a therapist could give me or anything would make me feel as good as music did. And that